Hi, happy Sunday and welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Carmen McGuinness, and on this channel we talk about relationships of all sorts, including what I call the primary relationship, which is the relationship that we have with ourselves. So today's topic is emotional unavailability. And this one is an eye-opener for a lot of people. It's something that I find people move into slowly. It might be easier to suddenly realize that you're married to a narcissist, or that that guy you've been seeing is a sociopath and he's really lied to you about absolutely everything that he has said, he or she. However, emotional unavailability, although much more common, is also much more difficult to detect because there's not so much going on in the media about it. Now, that said, I want to be clear that a narcissist, a sociopath, they might also be emotionally unavailable, but they are on a different spectrum to these people. These people are not at the lower end of a spectrum of narcissism. I really prefer if you don't think about everything I'm about to say in those terms, because it genuinely is not the case with most individuals. But we're going to talk about it and you can take it from there. Before I leap in, I want to make you aware of some changes happening in my life as far as my business as an author. As many of you know, I am a health psychologist, behavior analyst. I have a private practice where I see people who need support of one sort or another, both in my office in Altamont Springs in Florida and also on the internet. I have a HIPAA secure platform where I see people. And I also own and operate a school for children with learning disabilities. These are the two long-term things that have been stable in my life. I also years ago wrote academic books. I developed a reading method in teaching English learners to read called phonographics. Wrote 2 books, and those are, you can see those on my website, tippity-tap.net. More recently, in 2016, I wrote a book that released in 2017, which is a psychological romance, and I've written 2 now. I'm working on a 3rd, and I'm also working on self-help books for individuals who would like to improve their life in one way or another. The current book I'm working on is called Raising Your Inner Child. So I am terminating my agreement with Kindle Exclusive, Kindle Select, I believe it's called, which is where they can sell my books exclusively, the digital versions exclusively. So those will become available on my website the day after my their exclusive rights expire, which will be May 22nd. So you'll be able to purchase those. Now, I'm not trying to stop you from going directly now to Kindle and buying a book. Please do if that's if you want to go buy one. The 2 books are called Unintended Consequences, a psychological romance, and the sequel is Retrograde, a psychological romance. However, just letting you know that they will become available on my website very soon. I am also starting, and I'm super excited about this, a ladies' t-shirt and accessory line. And this is for both writers and readers. And you don't have to be a professional writer to wear one of my t-shirts. It's for people who dabble in writing as well as those of us who write professionally. And also avid readers of romance, and in particular romance of the slightly erotic variety, which is what I do. So that's going to be releasing, that the clothing and accessory line is going to be releasing in June. There's a lot of information on my shopping page on my website right now, so you can go look. And you can also download both the avoidance chapter in Raising Your Inner Child and also the chapter on emotional unavailability, which is what we're going to be doing today, what we'll be talking about today. So The chapters are not just informational, they are worksheets. There's worksheets and a lot of content that will help you sort of figure out what's going on and evolve, hopefully, beyond it. So just wanted to make you aware of all that, and I'm sorry if that took up a lot of your time, and I hope you're still with me. So we're going to jump right into our topic today, emotional unavailability. So you might have heard the term emotional unavailability. Maybe your mom or a friend told you that your partner isn't there for you. And you might have not agreed with them. You might have even dug in your heels and said, that's ridiculous. He or she supports you in many ways, perhaps financially or through verbal encouragement or just thumbs up or whatever it is. But you still feel something is missing. It's almost like a presence, that missing thing. One client described it as a big, dark, empty box. And one of my readers said it's like having a guest in your home all the time. So there's a little teaser for you. And if that is resonating at all, stay with me. And that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? Those who are emotionally unavailable are incapable of real intimacy. They just don't know you or wish to be known by you. They may love you, they may care for you, they may spend time with you, but they're not really there in the full way. So let's talk about that. Let's look at 10 signs that your partner is emotionally unavailable. And then at the very end, I'll talk about how this happens, how this person came to be. And perhaps more importantly, because my focus is you, how you came to attract him or her into your life. So, number 1, you can't read them clearly. You often don't know what's going on behind those eyes. You might think you know what his or her opinion is or will be on a topic, what he or she wants to do today or tonight or tomorrow, but then it's gone. You kind of lose the thread. You just aren't sure which way the wind will blow with him or her. And this isn't so much a mood thing as it is just what they're going to want to do, what they're going to say, that sort of thing, what their opinion is. And if you've been in this relationship for a while, you may well have gotten used to not knowing what you're supposed to expect from them. So it might be hard to even detect and notice this. But in the real world, the reality is that committed relationships, when we're in a committed relationship, we can usually read our partner pretty well. Number 2, they have a background cover story that doesn't quite scan. And again, this may be someone you've known for years, whether it's the story about the ex-wife or their kids that they don't really have in their life anymore, or the story about mom or dad, or something there just doesn't add up. And this isn't the sociopath scenario I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about bodies buried in the back garden. It's more like a kind of a mismatch. He or she might describe mom as perfect, but you've met her and you're just really not feeling it. Or maybe you actually never got to meet her. Maybe she's still around, but you never met mom. Why? Or it might be that they have a best old friend who writes and calls, friends them on Facebook, but they rarely or maybe never reciprocate. Why? Or it might not be about people at all, but life events or locations. Something isn't quite right, but not in a lying kind of a way, more like he or she really just didn't connect with their own life. Number 3, he or she doesn't seem to listen when you talk about yourself. He talks, you talk, even time back and forth, that happens. However, you're not really hearing me here. really listening or just taking in information? And why? What is that? You're pretty good at going uh-huh and the back and forth, but there's no real taking you inside of me, that kind of relationship, that kind of listening. If you're someone with accomplishments, this will really light up for you. You might be modest, you might not boast, but geez, you did win an Oscar. Could you notice? Okay, that was an exaggeration. Most of us haven't won Oscars. But here's an example from a reader, a real reader. And this guy is pretty accomplished. He had been a medical doctor in Cuba, now living in the U.S., selling Maseratis and making a bushel of money while also requalifying here in the U.S. as a medical doctor so that he can practice medicine here. This guy's busy. You'd think his new girlfriend would have responded with something like, "Wow, that's seriously impressive. You're awesome." But she didn't. She was happy enough to go on expensive holidays and accept nice gifts from him. And she was completely understanding when he was busy studying in his medical degree all the time, but no real connection to his prior accomplishments, his current struggle, and how well he was managing all of it. Number 4, they don't consider your feelings in making decisions. This might be choosing hotels for holiday stays or furniture purchases or really big things like putting the house up for sale. And these are real examples. There might be a brief discussion, but the decision is unilateral. Number 5, they don't seem like they want to know much about you. They don't ask questions on first dates, and maybe never. If this is a long-term relationship, they don't become part of your history or you of theirs. They might have friends that you don't really see much, and they're not all that interested in meeting yours. They don't talk about their work, and they don't seem to want to know about your work. Number 6, you will always feel like you're alone when you're with them. They don't overlap much with other people. If you really love this person and believe that they love you and they are capable of love, you can try to find ways in, but you might need to accept that feeling alone is your new reality if you're going to stay with this person. Number 7, you have a vague sense of emptiness when you're around them. And this is different to number 6, I want to be clear, which was feeling alone. This is more like something that you need isn't filling you. We connect with people in different ways: shared experiences, shared interests, shared plans and dreams. And I believe it is this last one, shared plans and dreams, that's really missing with these guys. They don't tend to dream. And when they make plans, they do it alone. They live their lives as if those they love are along for the ride, their ride. Number 8, they don't like talking in person and rarely on the phone. Text might be the preferable means of communication for them, but there isn't much of that either. Number 9, they're inconsistent. Though you may sense a deeper side of them, they seem cold, unfeeling, and distant much of the time. They might tell you that they love you. That could happen. They might tell you that they need you for no reason at all. But it's inconsistent. It doesn't come often. It's nice when it happens, but it's just not reliable. And their words often don't match their actions. And number 10, the last one, you often feel as though you're bothering them. This one's really sad. As though they don't have time for others in their life. And they kind of don't. They need to be alone. They want to be alone. They don't mind if you're in the room, but they don't want to be bothered. So there's your 10 signs that you might be dealing with an emotionally unavailable person. Now let's talk about how they came to be the way they are. Typically, an emotionally unavailable individual was raised by someone who they didn't entirely trust. And this person might not have been scary or bad, but for some reason they didn't trust them. Perhaps one or both parents were distracted. There might have been a divorce or unemployment or illness in the family. The parents might have been very distant. Maybe good caregivers, but bad at loving and nurturing. And in some cases, the parent might have been cold or even dangerous. Your partner may have learned early that he should keep himself to himself, letting others in only on a superficial level. So, what about you? How did you come to be attracted to an emotionally unavailable partner? Maybe you didn't even realize it until recently. Did you hear about this from a friend or a family member? Did they question his or her commitment to your relationship? Do you wonder why you didn't realize these things sooner, now that you're starting to see the light? Maybe you were raised by an emotionally unavailable parent. Maybe this is how you're used to being treated. Have you noticed that you're very good at being 80% of the relationship? That might be because as a child you fantasized about how great your parents were, how perfect was your little life. Or perhaps your partner slowly trained you into the position of being an accessory in his or her life. This can happen in a few ways. For instance, if you were very young when the relationship started, you might be more susceptible to this kind of treatment. Or if your partner has many other high-value assets, like he or she is very good-looking, rich, or well-known, perhaps famous. Good looks and success can help us overcome a lot, at least for a while. So that's what I have for you today. I certainly hope you find this to be helpful. If not for yourself, then perhaps for someone that you know, a friend, family member. And I do hope that you'll go and visit tippity-tap.net, my website. There's a lot of content on there. There's a little bit about me and a lot of articles. And there's links to articles that I've published in other venues as well, different relationship magazines and internet stuff. And then there's the shopping pages that I mentioned. You can buy this content for 50 cents with the worksheets attached to it today. Download it right away. And also the chapter on avoidance. And then I will be adding a chapter a week. Some weeks I'll be adding two all summer. I hope to have most of it up by the end of June because I'm going to try and double up as much as I can. So it's a great way to get the book. And when all of that is done, you'll be able to buy the whole book as a set. But you're not going to spend more for it this way than you would by doing that. So if a chapter at a time will help you for now, go for it. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Love you all. Look forward to seeing you again. Midweek sneak peek this Wednesday. Be there. Take care.